So let's get started. Everyone can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thanks for confirming. So I'm Samuel Chikirpate. I'm working as a DevOps consultant in MNC company. So that's a level 5 company, and I'm working for a client which is in Forbes already. So I'll assure you that what I'm going to provide will be the latest modules what we are using currently in the production system. So the next question is, who take this course? I mean, who all can take this? An absolute beginner can take this course because without any coding knowledge or without knowing what is DevOps and without knowing IT also can groom with me. So don't worry that if you don't know something, please don't feel shy. Just ask me. So the contents of this course, what we are going to discuss is first we'll install Ubuntu in it. But where we install, because we all use, most of us use Windows laptops, so that is where we are going to install Oracle VirtualBox, so to install the virtual servers on it. And we are going to install the Ubuntu 22.4.3, that's the latest one. And we are going to install the Oracle VirtualBox 7.0.10, even that is the latest. I have a documentation for it also, and I'll provide you at the time of installing it. So let us, after that we are going to learn about the Linux. In Linux we are going to learn that understanding the Linux and its architecture, basic commands which are all required for AWS DevOps consultant. So that all commands we'll be going to learn, and the user management, package management, server management, and installing packages like um, Nginx, Apache, MySQL, WordPress, and file editors like vi nano, and system networking and troubleshooting commands, how do CIPs, and how do we enable ethernets. That and all we will be going to discuss in the Linux. Next we are going to learn the basic shell scripting. I will tell you all the required commands which we can use as a shell scripting. Shell scripting is nothing but putting together all the commands what we are executing for a particular task. For example, say we are going to create a folder and we are going to write a file in it. So just take those commands, keep it in a file, and with an extension called .sh. And if we run that command and if we run that script, then all the execution will happen. So it's easy. Don't worry about programming and all. Going forward, you yourself will see that as a cakewalk for you. So contents of this course, again, in basics of networking, I'll teach you what is IP, what are subnets, what is CIDR, routers and switches and gateways, and DNS, host name, and network and troubleshooting, like how do you check the network, like using ping, netstat, port numbers, and NS lookup, and other all. And we also going to learn the AWS networking also, that I'll discuss in AWS part. So coming to the configuration management tool, the tool what we are using is Ansible. So Ansible is a tool what we are going to use to configure uh, for the configurations. Like AML fundamentals, what is configuration management, I'll talk, what is ad hoc commands, and setup and configuration, what are all playbooks, okay, what are roles, and there are more concepts in it, like an Ansible galaxy, variables and facts. So going forward, we all going to learn this Ansible commands also. So coming to the containerization and
Sam,
orchestration.
sorry for
Yes,
disturbing.
yes, yes.
Are you going to
Hmm.
share here the Ansible Tower?
What is that? Ansible?
Ansible Tower.
Ansible
Tower.
Tower. I hope it's not included in the module, but on the request, I'll be teaching that also.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, no problem. And coming to the containerization and orchestration, for containerization we are using Docker containers. So I'm going to teach you what are containers and images, and what do we need, why do we need containers to run other applications. So going forward, all the programming is going to break into chunks, very very smaller chunks, so that integration testing, regression testing will be smooth and easier for a continuous integration and continuous delivery. So that is why we have chosen containerization. So we containerize the microservices, and we're going to deploy those microservices. So I'm going to teach the fundamentals of the containers, Docker networking, Docker storage, Docker registry, and Docker backup and restore, Docker compose, and many other concepts in the Docker. So don't worry, I'm going to dig deep into the containerization and Kubernetes part, because um, this is the most crucial part, where we're gonna dig deep. And currently, our production projects also, we are doing the same. We mostly use Kubernetes as part of our day-to-day activities in our job. So yeah, like Docker networking, like a host, how do we connect the host network, bridge network, uh, and coming to Docker storage, like volume mount, bind mount, temp-fs mounts. So we are going to teach that. So coming to Kubernetes, Kubernetes we use to orchestrate the containerization. um, so I'll teach you what its architecture, what are control planes and its components, and the internal components like kubectl, and how do we connect to the K8's cluster after creating using kubeconfig file, and like K8 workloads like pods, replica sets, deployments, daemon sets, stateful sets, jobs, cron jobs, and replication controllers. So all these details I'm going to teach you. And coming to the K8 storage, I'll teach you, and config maps and secrets. CRDs, I'm not sure, this is not included in the module, but even though I'll give you a glimpse of what are CRDs, and how do we change the values.ml, and how do we create the environment according to it, and how do we customize the environment according to it. So coming to Kubernetes storage, volumes like PVs like persistent volumes, and PVCs like persistent volume claims, and storage classes, etc. So coming to services like cluster IP, node port. So these are all services where we can expose our application to the outer world. So for that we use services. Those are node port, cluster IP, load balancer, and etc. And we are going to learn about the more concepts also, like ingress controller, network policy, and we are going to learn mostly the important thing is EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. So we call it the service name, because AWS has provided it. So AWS has developed wrapped Kubernetes into its own service called EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. So we are also going to learn that. And coming to the contents of the course again, Jenkins is a CI/CD tool continue for continuous integration and continuous deployment. And we are going to learn about the Jenkins components, and installing and configuring Jenkins on AWS EC2 or VirtualBox. So based on our criteria, we are going to learn this Jenkins. How do we install it? And authentication and authorization, Jenkins plugins and jobs, Jenkins pipelines for CI/CD, and more concepts. And next, for code analysis, we use SonarCube. So I'll tell you what is static code analysis, tools available for static code analysis, architecture and components, Sonar Scanner for Terraform configuration analysis, integrate Sonar Cube with Jenkins CI/CD, and analyzing reported. How do we analyze the reports generated in Sonar dashboard also? So next, the important part is AWS. So we are going to learn um, more than 30 services in AWS. So we are going to deep dive here also, and I'll teach you what is cloud computing and what is AWS cloud. Why do we use AWS cloud, and what are uh, uh, infrastructure as service, platform as service, and software as service? What are those, and what's the difference between them? And how do we create the AWS accounts and access? And how do we secure those AWS account without root access? Understanding compute monitoring, authentication, and authorization services and their dashboards. And coming to IAM, identity access management, um, we can see multi-factor authentication and the IAM administrative access. And how do we create users, groups, policies, roles, account settings, and security token service? So that and all we'll discuss in IAM. And coming to EC2, Elastic Cloud Compute. So these are nothing but the virtual servers, or we can call it as instances, EC2 instances. And I'll tell you what's the difference between bare metal and virtual machines, and how do we use them in cloud and on premises as well. And coming to and we are going to learn what is Amazon machine image and instance types, security groups, disks, key pairs, and how do we connect to EC2 instances. So instance types like on demand, reserved, spot, dedicated instance, and dedicated host, and more services uh, more components, I mean, or we can say more parameters in EC2. And coming to AWS VPC, Virtual Private Cloud, we are going to learn. Actually, this will take time to learn because we need to understand what is Virtual Private Cloud and how do we create a network inside it. Why do we use subnets, routing tables, and subnet association, and how a user can connect to the particular server within the VPC network, and what is Elastic IP, VPC peering, Transit Gateway, ACL, egress only gateway, and all these services we are going to learn inside the VPC. And next, coming to storage, we are going to learn S3 buckets, EBS, Elastic Block Storage, EFS, Elastic File System, Storage Gateway, Transfer Family, and we also learn about the disaster recovery service as well, and how do we back up our services for the existing servers. Coming to databases, we are going to learn how relational and non-relational databases are, and we are going to get a good understanding on that. And database AWS provided AWS provided database like RDS, and what is a database engine, what is the different types of database engines like Amazon or MySQL and Oracle and MariaDB, something like that. So we are going to learn about all these databases as well. And coming to elastic load balancers, we are going to learn what is CLB. Of course, CLB is deprecated, but we are going to learn what is ALB. Even though I'll teach you what is CLB and what is ALB, NLB, network load balancer, application load balancer, and GLB is gateway load balancer. And what are the communications and the protocols what we are going to use inside the elastic load balancers, and why do we use uh, only these protocols, only particular protocols in ALB, and why do we use layer 4 in NLB and layer 7 in ALB? That and all we will discuss in detail. Coming to containers and orchestration, ECS for the Docker, we have here ECS, Elastic Container Service. though containerization will be covered in ACS. And coming to EKS Elastic Kubernetes Service, here in this we are going to learn what is the topics what we have discussed inside the Kubernetes. That and all we are going to learn. And we're also going to learn about what is auto scaling and how does it help to spin the multiple instances uh, in an environment or an inside a network. How do we launch a configuration? Or how do we manage auto scaling groups? And how do we get the notifications? That and all we'll learn. And coming to AWS monitoring. So, what is CloudWatch? CloudWatch is a monitoring tool developed by the AWS, and it has brought up as a service in AWS itself. So, using CloudWatch, we can set alarms, we can create, we can send logs, events, metrics, and all other application monitoring we can do with this CloudWatch. So, coming to AWS functions, AWS Lambda. AWS Lambda is nothing but a serverless platform. Uh, why do we use AWS Lambda? And how do we create an application? So that and all we will learn over here. And cloud formation templates also we are going to learn. So and the notification services, and there are more services as well, which are we are going to learn in this course. Coming here, we are going to learn about Git. What is Git? What is version controlling system? Distributed version controlling system. What is VCS? And why do we use Git? Or what is the workflow of Git and Git commands? Git commands and Git repos like AWS commit. So going forward, we are going to discuss about only the AWS code commit, which is nothing but a replica of a Git. And I'll be teaching you how do we use AWS code commit and what is the workflow of it and how do we use going forward. Coming to Terraform, it's an infrastructure as a code. We can provision servers, we can provision why do we use Terraform? I mean, we can provision servers using Terraform. And what is the workflow and the configuration language? I'm going to teach you how do we apply the services, how do we plan it, and what are the differences, and what are the resources, variables, functions, data stores, and many other things in Terraform we are going to discuss in this course. So till now, any questions?
Hey Sam, I just have a question regarding the Kubernetes. So, like in the bare metal, we gonna have the some Linux distro on the bare metal, right? So,
Yes.
are we gonna install YAML files on the Kubernetes pods and make it run so that we have the same replica as a bare metal? Like, are we gonna do all these things, or it's just like giving practical exposure to the concept?
I'll teach you more practically. I mean, not only here. I mean, I'll tell you what about the bare metals. That concept, yeah, we're going to deep. Uh, but don't worry that
Okay.
I'll cover your question as well.
Okay. So we're gonna
Yes.
install the YAML files in the pods and make it look like same as we deal with the bare metals, and is it
Mm,
that way, or okay?
yes. I mean, if you want, I can show that as well. Not an issue.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Just drop your question so that I won't forget anything in the
Okay.
chat.
Okay. Got it.
Yes. I'm dropping my email as well in the chat.
Yep.
If you have any questions, just so let us learn going forward. So there is a person called Raju, and he's a fashion designer, and he has an expensive collection of suits. He has a very good collection and a very big expensive shop, but in a village. So there are only particular people who are visiting his store always, and he don't has any exposure to the external world. So what he thought? He thought of creating an mobile application for his shop. So for that, he reached an IT company and he asked for the application to develop for him. So uh, then the IT company has explained Raju all the product idea. First asked his product idea and explained him what are all the process involved in it. So in the step one, planning. So Raju, let us assume that Raju has provided all the details that his app should like look like that and like this, and what are the exposures as you see here, right? So it should have a new tab for a new collection and new tab for the discounts and cart payments gateways. So these are all the requirements. So IT company has explained Raju that there is a process involved in it. So this is the process, and process has 6 steps. So planning, analyzing, designing, implementation, testing, and integration, and after that, maintaining the application in life. So let us see what is planning. So planning is nothing but identifying the need for software, defining the scope, objectives, and goals. So IT company will ask Raju what how your software should be and what is the scope uh, and what are the objectives and goals. And according to the requirement of the Raju, company has to study and analyze the project. Assess the project and what are all the terms, technical operations, and financial aspects also. So based on that only, the project planning will happen. So creating a detailed project plan including timelines, so that they should not breach the timelines, and resource allocation and risk assessment. So after planning, step two is analyzing. So in analyzing, we need to gather all the requirement, like collecting and documenting the user and system requirements also. And coming to the system design, here comes the architect's role. So they create the high level design and outline system architecture, components, and data flow for a without any performance degrade for the uh, customer application. Coming to the design, here also architect will take the role.
Will take the role.
uh, can you please mute yourself? Thank you. So detailed design, developing a detailed design specifications including data structures, algorithms, and interfaces in it. um, and architectural design, defining the overall system architectures, modules, and their relationships. And here comes the coding. Implementation is nothing but coding. Here the developers will take the stake, and developers write and test the code according to the design specifications. And after that, they'll do the unit testing for their code, and to test if their software is working as expected or not. And here comes the testing. Testers will be involved here, testing and integrate testing between different modules and components to uncover interface issues. system testing, like evaluating the entire system functionality and performance against the requirements. And again, there is one more testing involved: user acceptance testing, conducting the tests by the end user. So once the product is developed and it is in development stage, they'll provide the use to the end user, so that end user will do some testing, that he'll click here and there, and he'll see if there are any bugs, and if there are any other software needs he wants. For example, if you are clicking on a home tab and he wants some detailed matter in it and some other collections in the home page itself, so that and all um, will uh, will be detailed under this acceptance testing. So coming to the deployment. So deployment, once the testing is finished, developer will push the code, and after that it will be deployed by the operations team. So uh, deployment during the time of deployments, operations team will deploy the softwares on their virtual machines, I mean like servers, including installing and configuration. um, so before deploying the code itself, operations team will have a procurement plan: how much server, what is the server capacity, what is the cpu, and what are the memories required, and how to create, what type of OS they want to use. So that and all will be information will be pushed before itself, and the operations team will create the servers according to the requirement, and they'll be ready for the deployment. So once the deployment is ready, they'll install the software in the I mean they deploy the software in the target environment. And after that, that application should never go down. So for that we need a maintenance. And once the application is deployed, they'll do a sanity check, and they'll do a sanity testing, where they will fix the bugs, because uh, there will be some defects which are missed at the development stage, and they'll appear in the production deployment time. So during the time also, there are some defects raised. So what are the updates and enhancements and making improvements, adding new features and adapting to the new change requirements. So maintenance will happen, and this is also continuous process. And coming to the application, the monitoring and performance optimization also will include over here, because um, there are some monitoring scripts at the back end, or there are some monitoring tools which are already available, like AWS CloudWatch. So continuously it will monitor the software and its performance on the server based on the user requests. Also, it will maintain the replicas of the servers. So that's called monitoring and performance. So once all these steps are finished, then documentation and closure will happen. So they'll create all the documents, all the documentation part, what are the process involved in it, SDLC process involved in it, and the essential features and maintenance. And after that, they'll close the project, and they'll provide the application to the customer. So all this process, what is involved in creating a Raju's application, beautiful application for his suits, is called software development lifecycle. So in every IT company, this is followed. So if you see, it involves 6 steps: planning, analyzing, designing, implementation, testing, and devel- I mean, what you say, accessibility and uh, reports and maintenance, and the deployment, and after that maintenance. So after testing and integration, deployment will happen, and after that maintenance will happen. And there are certain models in SDLC which are more popular are a waterfall model, agile model, and spiral model, big bang, and etc. So there are different models in SDLC. So let us focus on waterfall model. So this is the product feature list. Product feature list is nothing but the requirement what we have discussed over here at the time of planning. So collecting and documenting the user and system requirements, right? So this feature list comes here. So Raju said that he should have welcome page, login page, product dashboard, display products according to the categories, discounts page, user notifications, customer ratings and comments, sorting the page, cart, payment gateways. Assume you imagine Amazon e-commerce or a Flipkart e-commerce. Then you'll come to know what are all the tabs are involved in it and how those e-commerce websites look like. So coming to the waterfall model. So they have gathered all the requirement and they have analyzed all this product list. Um, it looks good for them, and after that, according to this whole thing, they have gathered the system design. They need to provision the entire uh, servers according to this requirement, and after that they are implementing it and they are testing it, and and they have deployed it, and after that they need to maintain or so after at the time of maintenance or at the time of deployments, they found some issue or a bug. So actually waterfall model takes a long process, months together it will take, because writing all this code will take months together, and coming down after that they are going to the step by step process, like after developing all this code they come here for the system designing, and after that they are procuring the servers and all. After that they are testing. So once they found something in testing, then they need to change all the code. So it will take it may take months and years also. So the end user won't accept this, and because the end user wants his business to go live as early as possible. So IT company found that it's a no go. Waterfall model is not good model for this uh, Raju's requirement. So coming to the agile model. So what they have done, they have broken this product feature list into multiple chunks, and they have given it as stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, or you can call it as version 1, version 2, version 3. So what Raju wants is he wants his application to go live as early as possible with a minimum tabs. So he don't want all of them together. He wants to see his application live and customers buying his products. So that is why what they have thought, in stage 1 we can add welcome page, login page, product dashboard, card, payment gateways, and customer support. So going forward, we can do the develop. Once this stage is success, then we can go into the stage 2 like discount offers, user notifications, and after that stage 3. So when the IT company has developed the stage 1, and if it show to the customer will feel happy, and he'll do his user acceptance testing and all, and he'll give enough money for the company to move further. And if it doesn't work well, that's another choice. You know what happens, company will lose the customers. So billing will be provided as per the development goes on. So Raju liked this model, and IT company also is very uh, happy that Raju has approved this agile model, and they're going to deliver the code in chunks wise, so that customer also will feel happy. So in this development, So yes, everyone is happy about the agile model. Now comes the development. uh, Coming to the development, they planned the requirement, they need to code the requirement, they need to build the develop code, they need to test the code, release the code for the development. And there is one more team called as operations team, and here we can write as development and testers. So here there are two parties, development team and testers. And testers team, they will develop the code and they will test the code. And coming to another team in the same company called operations, they'll deploy the application code into their servers, and they will monitor the application that it should not have any performance degrade, and it should not go down at any point of time. So they will check the high availability, and they'll monitor the application, and the performance of the application also they'll monitor. So these three teams have to work together for this agile model to become successful. So that is where development plus operations were merged together and called as DevOps. So you can see what is DevOps. And DevOps is nothing but a collaboration communication between the development and operations and other relevant teams, such as quality assurance and security also. Uh, these teams are also there, but they're at the back end. They are not showed at the front, but these teams also will play more value to the project, add more value to the project. So throughout the software development lifecycle. And DevOps is not just about the tools and process, it's also about fostering a culture of collaboration, continuous improvement, and shared responsibility among development and operation teams. So, implementing DevOps practices can lead to the benefits such as shorter development cycles, and increased deployment frequency, higher quality software, and improved collaboration and better alignment between development and operations team. So this is a very good approach in an IT companies right now. Currently, they are all migrating to the DevOps model itself. So what is the benefit of DevOps? I will tell you. So here in the waterfall model, they are they are writing a monolithic code and they are deploying it. And once they have deployed, after a month, they found the issue that development has many bugs and errors. Again, they need to develop again. Again, they need to come from the starting. So there will be a time breach, and they will pass deadlines. They cannot provide the application to the end user to the time they have said to the Raju. So, and Raju might feel depressed and disappointed, and IT company may lose the customer. So that is the problem with it. But coming to the agile model, here nowadays what happened, even they are making it more smaller, as in smaller chunks. Their development is now in more smaller chunks. Now they came up with a model called user stories sprints. So for example, in a sprint will have 10 days, 12 days exactly, um, uh, 10 or 12 days based on the company's requirement. So in those 10 days, they'll create user stories. For example, I have a welcome page, and welcome page, the developer only will code the welcome page itself within the 2 weeks. So he'll deploy that code, and in the next sprint, what he'll do? Sorry. So in the next sprint, what he'll do? He'll deploy the login page, and in the other sprint, what he'll do? And he'll deploy the dashboard page. So he'll develop and deploy, he'll develop and deploy. So if continuous development will be there, and continuous deployment will be there, and continuous integration will be there. So when they're deploying this cart or payment gateway, along with cart and payment gateway, welcome page also will be deployed. So welcome page will be deployed as many times as all these codes got deployed. So welcome page is being tested many times. So we can find more defects when we are doing the testing for a lot many times. So we are bringing the higher quality of the code here, and we are testing in a regression way. I mean, reliability also will be tested over here, and we are going to when we follow the model, right, and the sprint model, right, then we are going to produce the high level code to the end user. So because of this uh, that's this is also agile model, but currently in companies they are following the user stories within the sprints, and they are developing the smaller chunks of code, so that they will be tested more times, and quality will be more, and the defects will be less at the time of release into the production. So that is something like continuous integration and continuous deployment, continuous development, and continuous deployment also. So going forward, we'll also learn about so DevOps is nothing but the collaboration between development and operations. And you can see here how the DevOps life cycle is. So in this development, they'll do the planning, and after that, a version control system is like Git or AWS code commit. Coming to the development, they'll use developers will use Visual Studio Code or anything, or Java for the development, and Visual Studio Code for the um, to write the code. And after that, quality control will happen, and the continuous not this one, and the continuous integration, and sorry here, and after that release will happen, and after that they'll deploy the code. Infrastructure as code, nothing but Terraform. Configuration management, Ansible. We can do provisioning using Terraform also. And coming to virtualization is nothing but EC2. uh, Now we are deploying the code in the virtual servers. Containerization, nothing but ECS, Elastic Container Service. And coming to the logging and monitoring is nothing but AWS CloudWatch. And coming to virtualizations and monitoring, um, in monitoring everything will come, logging and monitoring. AWS CloudWatch will come. And there are external tools also like Prometheus, Grafana. There are external monitoring tools as well. So this is the DevOps model. So the mostly we need to do practice every day for at least 2 hours. If you are not practicing, then we cannot go along with the course. So even if you join multiple times, and if you hear multiple times also, you need hands-on practice. Otherwise, we cannot cope up with this. So now I am open to questions. Is anyone there? Yes. What is it, Abhi? Saying something? Abhi, are you saying something? Okay. So no questions. Great, then I think I'm clear to
Hey,
everyone.
hi, sir.
Yeah, hi. Who's this?
This is
Rishi.
Rishikesh. Yeah,
Hi, Rishi.
actually, I'm carrying a experience in IM domain.
I am.
Almost carrying a 5 years of experience in IM domain. So, would it be fine if I do this core and like showcase my experience accordingly?
Um, yes, you can do it, but it depends on your practicing skills and how do you expose yourself. See, in every project, there are some other things related to every tool and every domain.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just tell your project related to AWS. You can say that if you can put all your past experience into the AWS. Once you find AWS is correct to you, I mean, once you go through all this course, right? So you'll come to
Mm-hmm.
know. I'll make sure that everyone learns each and every point because I'll be asking questions at the next session. So you need to put all your experience. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to bluntly say what you have done in the what the tool you have used in the uh, past projects. Just say the same experience, merge it into your AWS experience, and tell them that you have worked on the AWS itself.
Okay, fine.
So by this, you know, you can get more salary at the same time. Um, you can have the more exposure also because we are going to learn very deep into this project. So don't think that you may be exposed. No,
Okay.
it's good to learn with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Hello.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
hi
you, sir.
Gita.
Hi, sir. Basically, I'm into pure Spring Boot microservices developer.
Yeah.
I want to learn, deploy my applications into cloud environment with AWS. For this, AWS with the DevOps is useful or pure AWS development is good for my career growth next level onwards.
See,
Could you
if
please
you are
suggest
very
me?
familiar, yes, if you are very familiar with your development, I would say that just learn the services they are useful for you to deploy only the code and rest. If you are very expert, I mean, if you are very fond of developing, just don't leave that. You can go with that. Just learn the services what you require in the AWS to deploy the code.
Uh, and one more, whatever you're going to covering in this course content, right? Everything is related to the deployments and AWS related, AWS services deployment by using DevOps tools, or it should comes under pure AWS development topics also will get covered here.
No, not development topics, only provisioning part. See, what all I have discussed, like tools like Terraform, configuration management, Ansible. So that and all will be covered. So what all I discussed,
Under
I have
DevOps, no?
yes under DevOps.
For AWS, whatever we can use in real-time services, that deployment related topics also will get covered here.
Yes, yes, and you'll also will come to know how do you create a network inside the AWS and how do you route the traffic for your application. So that and all you'll be going to learn in this course.
So
As a
finally, this and
developer,
all related.
yes, I
Sorry.
mean, as a developer, if you have exposure to the network and if you see how the traffic is getting routed into the several servers, then I'll say that you'll be an expert in development and as well as the AWS as well. So you'll be having the whole exposure to the network, designing, development. It's a kind of architect role. I mean, that is what I'm saying.
Someone says AWS solution architect for that related things. This course is not enough, right?
No, this is very much enough for that. If you are
Okay.
planning for a certification, then there are some more services which you need to learn. But coming
Yes,
to the
yes, I'm
DevOps,
planning for certification, sir, actually.
yeah, if you almost all the services that we use in uh, that they are used in certification course that we're going to discuss in this DevOps course.
Okay, that should be different, right? Certification course.
Certification course will have two or three more services extra. That's it.
Okay, okay. That should not be cover under this course, no?
Yes, I mean, what to say, on the request I'll cover, not a problem.
Okay, sir. May I know your name? Actually, I joined a little bit late.
My name is Samuel Chigrapati.
Okay, okay, Samuel. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions? Because I have a hard stop at 10 o'clock. Okay, great to see you all. I hope I'm clear to everyone. Thank you. Pradeep, thank you.
Tomorrow demo is there again by the
I'm
same
not
time,
sure about that.
Samuel?
Oh,
Okay.
I'm not sure about tomorrow. Maybe you can ask the management according.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you all.